So in the 1510s, some connections that Da Vinci had in the medical world, he was able to gain access to human bodies for anatomical study. Now, in the years gone by, Da Vinci had conducted a lot of animal dissections, but he also dabbled lightly in human dissections even before this. But now, since he could do it kind of legally through his medical
dissection,
in the next few years, Da Vinci carried out dozens of dissections, studying the nerves.
So what did you in the back in the day to understand how to draw you properly? They cut dead people open.
To see inside the human body.
Yeah, look.
The heart, breaking body parts down into their muscular and skeletal forms to understand them in and out, and just in general.
Well, that's what Da Vinci was doing.
Yeah, that's the story.
But he said, was he the one cutting the body that was interested in it?
He was kind of. Every artist had to do that to understand how to draw the body properly.
Swear.
And it was actually accurate because back in these days, anatomical knowledge was very questionable. It was heavily influenced by this Greek physician from the 2nd century named Galen, whose anatomical depictions were interesting, to say the least. But this is the kind of thing that was in textbooks. And nobody, not even the anatomy professors, ever questioned Galen's teaching.
It was kind of women and shit, bro.
Galen is correct.
And when they did dissections in school, the professor would just read a commentary on Galen, and an assistant would point things out as a surgeon chopped up the body. The professor never even looked inside.
Now we will remove the heart.
Oh,
So you're looking at is the heart.
I love him too, but aren't you going to check if Galen is right?
As if he'd ever be wrong. He's Galen.
So since Da Vinci didn't have this bias, since he wasn't like in the medical world or something like that, he was able to see human anatomy for what it really was. It's crazy how Da Vinci's private notebooks were more accurate than medical school textbooks and stuff. That's kind of funny. It wasn't just anatomy though that Da Vinci studied with this level of thoroughness. He did this with everything that he felt he needed to understand to make his art as accurate to reality as possible. And the observations that he would make as he went around studying the world would lead him to ideas that he would just write down in his private notebooks that were quite literally centuries ahead of their time. For example, he studied mountains and rock formations and things like these, and he realized that these structures had to have formed in layers very slowly over time. Now, you probably learned that kind of thing in high school, but back then, there was not common knowledge. The little fossils that he'd occasionally find as he was walking around. I mean, back then, people used to think that fossils were remains of mythological creatures like dragons and stuff like that. But Da Vinci was one of the first to realize that fossils are just creatures that died a very long time ago.
Since they were smart as well.
Yeah. But why is he alluding to
That's what I'm saying. How is crazy?
The area he was in had to have been the seafloor at some point in the past. And the combination of this led him to reason that the Earth was significantly older than what it was said to be by the church fathers.
How do you know that Da Vinci knew this, bro?
He probably wrote it down, did you know?
Birds and how
But like, why care about what this nigga says?
objects like this parachute and this
Because he made a few things.
looking thing. Inventions that obviously come centuries later.
And secondly,
his
Da Vinci called him a lunatic, yeah.
designed today
He's
actually
blazing the
work.
fuck out
And
of
that's
him
the
right
thing
now.
with Da Vinci. It wasn't
That was
just
him.
the human body looks this way, so I'll draw it this way, or mountains look this way, so I'm gonna draw them this way. It was no, why do mountains and rocks form in this manner? Why do
Fucking
branches and
glazing
leaves
Da Vinci
form
right
in
now, bro.
Yeah, right now.
patterns? Why
Cooking,
do
bro.
light and
I'm
shadow interact in these
I'm saying, bro,
Because
what I'm
he
trying to say
probably
is,
figured that
he's
if
right,
you
he's doing
could
all that, but at the same
understand
time, he's calling the individual. Why
then
is
you
Da
could
Vinci
utilize
lunatic?
that
Yeah, I think he
concept, you
clicked
could
it,
then
that's
paint
good.
whatever
That's
you
good.
wanted and have it
I
still
will have to
accurate
not
to
like this
reality.
shit.
And his
I
methodical
definitely
approach
dislike
to
it, but I
solving
don't finish
and
editing
paint
videos. That's
modeling,
kind of interesting, but
geologists
still.
and complex
That's
hierarchy,
it.
backgrounds,
That's
and
it,
formations
yeah,
that we
yeah.
see in a lot of Da Vinci's work are accurate representations of what these things would look like if they were actually real places. So, that's kind of cool. So, when it comes
Your
to
gum.
the actual
Great,
painting,
bro.
Da Vinci
yeah.
likes to try new methods and techniques
Yeah.
of communicating his artistic vision, which is obviously a good thing. But sometimes this inclination of his to experiment with paint didn't really fully work out. In 1504, Da Vinci was commissioned to paint a massive wall of the town hall, and this commission came with a little bit of spice because Florence had a very vibrant art culture, and sometimes they'd like to pit artists against each other to see, who would win. And at this point in time, there were two artists who were at the top of the food chain, so to speak. Da Vinci, who at this point was gaining fame in these circles because, his Last Supper kind of went viral back then.
Oh, we
But he
do
had a
that.
little bit of competition. Some guy who just finished creating one of the grandest sculptures in all of history, Michelangelo. And the two artists were
Yeah, he was
Oh,
tough. I
no,
can't
killing some
lie.
people.
battle scenes
I watched the
on
video about
opposite end walls
Michelangelo.
of
He was
the
tough.
town hall. And to add a bit of fuel to the fire, these two guys absolutely
Why is he speaking like that?
Like, they would throw verbal insults at each other all the time. It was even reported that they once got into a physical fight in the middle of the street.
Bro,
There was a lot of animosity.
he knows that.
So each
Like,
equipped
he told me that.
Some white people, bro.
they
This
both
nigga's
got to
lying,
work
bro.
creating
No one cared this much at the time. This guy told me at this time people cared that much about these two.
Yeah, that was like the Drake and Kendrick Lamar right there.
Nah, no way,
I bet, bro. Because the Michelangelo and everyone knew him because their paintings were so famous. Imagine niggas who never had phones, so they had paintings. You feel that's the Instagram, that's the
The paintings with their phones.
yeah, like niggas wanted to see paint. Because imagine all you doing every day is farming and seeing your family, nigga.
Yeah.
You go to the city and you see a fucking painting, you're like, Jesus Christ, that nigga skilled. That's like the footballers.
I'm gonna lie to you. I feel like regardless of that, yeah, these niggas were still lame at that time, bro. 100% they were lame. The real niggas don't know, bro. The real niggas was like David in the Bible. They feel me, Jesus.
I hate
You know, King Henry, real fucking bro. You they were the cleanup crew back then, bro. King Henry was the big cleanup crew, bro.
Yeah, but not at this
King Michelangelo
time.
was like the big people see King
Yeah,
Henry.
but that was time before this.
They were the real ballers back then, bro. Oh shit.
Yeah, where the plaster has become part of the wall, essentially. It's a method of painting
Would
that
you
can be
hit?
trusted to create a for a very long time. It was right? But Da Vinci didn't like this. This is because he was a slow artist. Right? He
Yeah.
liked to take his time. He liked to think about things
I'm
and
not
make
feeling
changes
that
to his
dude
work.
rattling, bro.
And this isn't something you can do with
Like, why you get traumatized? Just say even your crib.
So you have to kind of work in little sections if you're doing a massive wall, for example. And if you want to go back and change something, well, good luck, because it's incredibly difficult to do that with fresco. And so, since the established way didn't really fit Da Vinci, he decided to try something.
I know this nigga was raised in fucking the nicest place ever.
Oh,
I can tell by the hairstyle.
Experiment with hot molten wax, using that as your paint, and then apply it to the wall. It's a method of painting that was mainly done by the ancient Egyptians.
Now these
and
niggas
had
are
created
cold.
work
You
that
know how
lasted
cold
for
you have to
thousands
be
of years
to
now,
be
so
back
it
in the
can be
day.
really
You're drawing
long
people
method.
that accurately.
No word,
And
bro.
nowadays niggas is doing pure shit.
He probably made the mixture way too hot because the paint ended up dripping down, melting, and just ruining the entire thing. So he kind of just abandoned it. And when Michelangelo heard about this, he abandoned his work too, and he ended up eventually being called to Rome by the Pope. So talk about anticlimactic, bro. All we have today are some surviving studies that were done by younger artists of the time. So you can see Da Vinci planned to do a gruesome scene of the soldiers just in the middle of battle, just duking it out on horseback. Even the horses are
was like
getting in
gay
on the
porn
action.
back
It's
then,
just this tangle of violence.
But what
And
you
Michelangelo
niggas fighting?
planned to depict.
No, bro, I was like, oh, what did I say? What did I say, bro? What naked
Nah, but
niggas,
they were
bro.
some freaky frogs
No,
back
he's
in the
a
day,
freak,
bro.
yo, nigga.
Because they had shit else to do but fuck, nigga. That was probably that crack back in then.
Yeah, true.
Why do you think niggas was raping bears back in the day?
No,
Because they had shit to do.
My money, I loved it.
That's kind of cool.
Okay,
No?
See, that's
No?
what it is my Uzbek, bro. I'm saying my Uzbek, bro. You know, it's such a, like, it's a coincidence, yeah? That my man is the biggest Uzbek fan. And he's slapping things. It's a coincidence. I'll be honest with you, bro. I'll be honest with you.
So,
It's no coincidence.
oh, even though he dressed as fuck.
Damn.
Why is the thing getting with that nigga, bro?
She
Yo.
was horny. She was like, not horny, hungry and horny, everything together, bro.
Oh, like he looks like a lion, bro.
Whoa.
He reminds me of like the Lion King. Look at that nigga. I'm surprised
Aaron
that's
Pierre.
It
Nah,
does-
comparing him to Aaron Pierre is glazing.
No, not the Lion King. I
He's
know
been
Aaron.
glazing all day. He's been glazing
No, not the
all
Lion
day,
King
bro.
IRL. Like the Lion King cartoons. Like his nose is like a snout.
Why are you looking at his nose that deeply, bro? Why are you so interested in his nose, bro?
No, this
Let's get that camera, make sure the camera sees the nigga, bro. Why are you so interested in the nigga's nose, bro?
nah, cause that nigga just look like a lion. You look at a nigga and it look like a lion.
We don't really see that nigga's face, huh? As a fellow Uzbek nigga.
Hello.
Yeah, bro.
Like you are playing Len today on your TV.
Yeah,
Let's go on your history.
Yeah.
I hate that. You see, if you go on his YouTube, you're gonna see Len on Uzbek. Because he likes it. He likes decent women and minors. Is your baby 18?
Huh?
Is your baby see the heart?
What do you mean?
Is your baby 18?
19, bro.
Oh, bro.
What do you mean? I'm 19.
20, bro.
I'm 19.
You're 20,
Oh, man, 19. Oh, I think I know someone that's 20. And that's you. Not me, though.
Me? Yeah. Say that.
Yours, bro. It's you, bro.
You old ass nigga.
Nah, that's you, old ass. You projected all day as well. Glazing and projecting all day. That's what we do. That's what we do.
Studying anatomy, like
I want to talk
studying
about French thing.
geology, plants,
You got
mathematics,
any TV, bro.
because
I haven't been going on for time.